time now for another vlog. And if you have a vlog suggestion that I have yet to do, be sure and check the vlogs playlist first. Then you can send your vlog suggestion my way via the various social medias below in the comment section. Twitter, that's also good. Yeah, comment section, Twitter, Facebook, or Discord. All those places are where you can send me your suggestion for a future vlog. If you have a specific vlog that you would like to keep anonymous, feel free to do so. You can DM me via Twitter, Facebook, as well as Discord. Just let me know that you wish to be anonymous. It doesn't matter why, I understand, and I will respect your privacy. Okay, so about a month ago, after I got back from my trip to visit my sisters in Central Texas, I think I mentioned this during a live stream. I noticed one of my neighbor's houses, there was a cop car, a detective car, and I was like, what the heck happened? Like, what's going on? And sure enough, I found out a few hours later that one of my neighbors passed away. She was probably in her 50s, maybe 60s. Her dad had lived in the house before she moved in, and he passed away some time ago. I think it was a heart attack. And then, of course, after he died, then his daughter moved in. She was always pretty nice to me. A little strange, but nice. Other neighbors that I guess knew her a little bit more than me, they told me that she was kind of a hoarder. She had an issue with collecting things. I never went into her house. And most of the time I preferred not going into my neighbors' homes unless I'm invited. And the feeling's mutual. I mean, I think that's the way it is now when it comes to neighbors, is the best neighbors are ones that mind their own business, and as long as you do the same, then for the most part they're pretty good neighbors. Now, I still don't know what exactly happened to her, so that remains a mystery about what her fate is. Why did she end up dying? But her kids, or her son, I don't know if she has one child or a couple children. I know she at least has a son. Him and his girlfriend, within, I would say, a week after she passed away, they started cleaning out the house. And I imagine that his mom probably had a lot of stuff in her house, especially since, as it's been pointed out, that she was, in fact, a hoarder. And you have to also bear in mind that her dad's stuff was probably also in that house as well. So you had her dad's stuff, her mom's stuff, along with her stuff. A lot of stuff for her kid or kids to clean out of that house. And garbage day is on Monday. And for several Mondays, there were bags and bags of garbage. And it went on for a few weeks. In fact, they even got one of those, I guess you could rent out a large like garbage bin or container. So that's how much stuff she ended up having in her house. A lot of garbage. And it just made me wonder the first time I saw that. Like, is that our fate? Is that all that remains of us after we're gone? Is our stuff ends up garbage for our family and those that we leave behind to clean up and toss away or give away, or anything of value we keep for sentimental reasons or for monetary reasons, and we try to sell everything else in, say, a yard sale or an estate sale? In the end, is that just the way it goes for all of us? Like, everything we spend our lives collecting, whether you're a hoarder or just somebody that happens to get a few items along the way, like clothing, baseball cards, stamp collection. I always mention those, coin collections, furniture, like souvenirs from going on trips, gifts from friends, silverware, pots, pans, plates, bowls. Who knows what else you happen to have in your possession. But in the end, it goes away. I mean, because you can't take it with you. I know the ancient Egyptians thought that you could, especially the pharaohs, when they passed on. But as the the theme of the play and the title of the play, you can't take it with you. I've mentioned this a few times in previous vlogs. Like, all that stuff you have, it in the end, it doesn't really matter. And a lot of it ends up being thrown away. Whether you valued it or not, whoever you is left behind in your passing, a lot of them are probably just going to, like, put it into some, garbage bags and just put it on the side of the road to be picked up by the garbage guys on Monday or Tuesday or whatever day they happen to come and collect the garbage. And it really is something that makes me take a step back and look at the things that I have. Because I don't claim to be a hoarder, but I do have a few items. And as you get older, especially if you have a home, you will find that you go from having hardly anything to having a lot of stuff. And there's definitely things that have value, usefulness, like I mentioned plates, pots, bowls, spoons, forks, knives. Things you kind of need, like some clothing items. But then you end up getting a lot of things, one way or the other, that in the end, no one else is going to have interest in. And at the end of the day, when your time comes, it's just going to be thrown away. It's going to either be thrown away, it's going to be given away to charity, it's going to be sold. That same thing happened several years earlier when my dad unfortunately passed away. And speaking of parents, yesterday was Mother's Day. And that day always sucks for me, as some of you already know. I did a vlog about mothers last year, I believe, because my mom passed away when I was very, very young. And I don't really have that many items that belong to my mom. The one thing I do have of hers, besides some photos, is I think a couple yearbooks and a guitar my dad gave her, an acoustic guitar. I don't know how to play the guitar, but I still have it. I keep it for sentimental value. But going back to my dad, for example, like when he passed away, in his final few years, he also became somewhat of a hoarder as well. He had a lot of stuff that he was collecting for his own reasons. And it may have been because he was in such bad health that not only physically was he hurting over several years of refusing to go to the doctor, he possibly also was starting to have some mental issues as well. Because he wasn't getting that much sleep, because he was in a lot of pain. But my sisters and I, after he died, I think it was like a month after he passed away, we met at his house in East Texas. And we started cleaning up what we could, And, of course, his brothers and sisters, they got some items that they wanted. And my sisters, they got some items as well, some keepsakes. But a lot of it we ended up giving away to the Goodwill. The rest of it ended up garbage. We ended up throwing it away. And it seems so futile because Dad, for whatever rhyme or reason, just like my neighbor, just wanted that stuff. Whether they, in their mind, they tried to justify why they had this stuff. Oh, I have projects I'm going to use this for. Oh, you may not see value in this, but I see value in it. And I'm going to use it for something, or it's going to be worth something someday. And a lot of people have collections, from video games to action figures. Hell, I've got a few unopened Star Wars Episode 1 action figures. I'm going to probably sell those, along with some other things, because that's just the mindset where I am now, where it no longer really has value to me like it used to. Like, yes, I'm still a Star Wars fan, and I hope that the 9th movie in the Star Wars saga is good. I hope that Rise of Skywalker, coming out in December, is an awesome movie, and it makes up for The Last Jedi and for the sequel trilogy. and it ties it all together. I hope so, anyways. I also hope that the new video game, Jedi Fallen Order, coming out in November, is good. But even though I'm a Star Wars fan, and I have some things that I've bought over the years, Star Wars theme, like some posters I've had framed, some really good quality plastic lightsabers, and of course the unopened action figures from Episode 1. I've got a whole bunch from Episode 1. I've got a few from Episode 2. The truth is, they just sit in a box. And if I pass away, and it's not a question of if, it's when, sooner or later my time's going to come, just like for everybody. Nobody is going to see that box of unopened action figures and care for it the way I did when I first bought it. Now, the truth is, I probably bought it when I think I was like 18, 19 years old when Episode 1 came out. I think I bought it because of the fact that I anticipated that one day those action figures might actually be worth something. So I wasn't really buying them for the sentimental reason or because I wanted to open them up and play around with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon and Padme. Okay. But anyways, I think I saw back then that if I keep these like unopened and I hold on to them for a while, maybe like 20 years later, like now it would be 20 years later, maybe I could actually throw them, sell them. And now we have eBay, so maybe I can actually fulfill that purpose, right? But the truth is, I have no desire to keep it. None whatsoever. The only value it has to me is monetary. As much as I enjoy the Star Wars movies and the Clone Wars, at the end of the day, I am more than willing to part with those action figures and other things in my possession because it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't. It's just things. It's just stuff. A few exceptions of sentimental items that, like my mom's guitar, for example, and a few other things. Most of it we don't really need. We just have because we want it or because we collected over the years. We buy this thing, then we buy that thing, and then before you know it, it gets out of control. And you have like closets and boxes and drawers filled of all these items and things that if you took a step back and you asked yourself a serious question like, do I really need all this stuff? The big fat answer would be no. It's just potentially garbage for somebody else to throw away if and when your time comes. And it just made me realize that whenever I saw the garbage that was being put on the side of the road for my neighbor, that was once her stuff. And the same thing back a few years prior when we were cleaning out my dad's house. And a lot of that ended up being thrown away. But in the end, it didn't really matter because what mattered more than all that stuff was the person that was no longer there. What mattered most to me and my sisters and like family members and friends of my dad was my dad. Even though sometimes he could be a pain in my side. We didn't always agree. He tried his best. He was far from perfect. But we would rather have him than all that stuff. And I would like to believe that my neighbor's son or children, because like I said, I didn't know her really well, but I'd like to believe that they probably would feel the same way that I do about my dad. Maybe they didn't have the best relationship, and I'm not saying I had a bad relationship, but the point is, that was just stuff. Stuff that eventually ends up in a bag of garbage, picked up by garbage guys who do a fantastic job, by the way. I do believe that they are very underappreciated. They do a very important job. And all that stuff ends up in the landfills, or recycled, or given away, or sold for a few bucks here and there by, the family of those departed. And it just really makes you want to assess things and take a step back and ask the hard questions about what matters and what doesn't matter in life. And yeah, it's nice to have things. Okay, I'm not saying that I've become a hermit or a monk And like a Jedi tying into Star Wars, I'm denying myself material possessions. I'm not. I'm just asking the question, like, how much is too much? Do you really need all this stuff that we have? Do you really need all that collection? Does it really matter at the end of the day? Because everyone has a different type of collection. Everybody has different needs and wants. And I get it. I totally do. There's people that collect video game consoles or old video games. And the list for that can go on and on. There's plenty of people out there that like to collect shoes and purses and other items. I just, when you think about it, when you really just dive into it and assess it, we have to ask the hard question, why do we have this stuff? Is it a sense of pride? Is it a sense of accomplishment? Saying, hey, I worked, I had a job, I made money. Even though maybe I didn't have the best job and I didn't make the most money, but, this is something I got out of it. This collection of whatever it is that you consider to have as a collection. Or whatever you just happen to be into. Whether it's a doll collection or something else entirely. It just makes you wonder, why do we get all this stuff that eventually, somewhere down the road, is going to become garbage? Like, another prime example, okay? One of my uncles, he likes to hunt. I like to hunt too, but I don't hunt like I used to. And I've always been more of like a game hunter. I'm not a trophy hunter. I'm not a sport hunter. I'm like, if I go hunting, I want to hunt for the meat, right? For the venison or for wild turkey meat. But I haven't hunted in years. And fortunately, most of us live in a society now where we don't have to necessarily go hunt to survive. It's good to have those skills. But my uncle likes to hunt, I guess, for the sake of hunting. And I think it was an elk, from what I was told. Like, his wife's son, or one of her sons, one of his stepsons, I think accidentally knocked a trophy elk, like an elk head with elk horns, antlers, off his wall, or damaged it or something. The stepson damaged my uncle's elk. And he got very mad about it, my uncle. And it was like he was angry about it, and I think he went, like, from what I was told, like a day or so without talking to any of them. He kind of gave them the silent treatment. But when you're gone, that elk's not going to matter to them. They're going to miss you. Despite all your imperfections and flaws, they're going to miss you, not the elk. Like, no one else is going to give a damn for that elk. No one else is going to give a damn for those action figures. No one else is going to give a damn for my Star Wars posters. They're going to miss me. At least I would like to believe that some people would miss me when I'm gone. So it really has to make you wonder and assess the things that truly are valuable to us, that should be valuable to us, and the things that are not as valuable as we make them out to be. Because at the end of the day, stuff is just stuff. And it's okay to have things. I'm not telling you to go sell all your stuff now and become a minimalist. We each have to live our lives the way we choose to, the way we see fit. But I do think that if you're a hoarder, maybe you ought to take a look at all your stuff and, I don't know, start trying to sell some of it, give some of it away, throw it away. Because eventually when your time comes, someone else is going to have to throw it away. And I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to inconvenience people. And if my time ever does come, because, I'm very aware of my mortality because my mom died of liver failure. I have a hereditary liver condition. That's why I don't drink alcohol. That's why I'm trying to get in shape. It's a struggle. I was at the gym Friday, and I finally decided to jump on the old weights, the weight machine, the scales, whatever you want to call it, and I thought I would be 10 pounds lighter than I was. So that kind of bummed me out a little bit. But the struggle is real. So I have to be mindful of that. And that's why I've been trying to cut back on sugar. And so I'm always mindful of the reality that there's a very real possibility I may not live to be like 90 something years old, like my papa is, my mom and one of my uncle's dads, or my dad's mom, my grandma, like she's in her 90s as well. And I accept the fact that we're all here for as long as we're meant to be here, and we should be grateful for the time that we all have. And there's more important things in this life than stuff. There's a lot more things, like the people that matter to you the most. You're spending time with your friends and your family, and going to see them. And that's something I've been trying to do more of, going to see my sisters. I need to go see my grandfather soon, hopefully. It's just, there's always something that's coming up, you know. I'm always busy doing things. And my papa's always busy. So it's, you know, it's understandable. We're all living our lives, doing the best we can. And there's definitely things I want to go do and things I want to go see. I would like to go see other parts of the country. And I would maybe even get a passport. Go see other countries like Canada or Ireland or the UK, like England, Wales, Scotland, parts of Europe, for example. Maybe even go see some Asian countries or other places around the world would be kind of cool. It would be nice to actually get out of the house and go do things. But we all have responsibilities. Like, for example, you know, my cats and my dog, you know, they don't take care of themselves, so I have to take care of them. And pet owners understand that just as much as a parent would. You know, it's when you have a pet or you have a kid, you can't exactly just drop what you're doing and go somewhere, even for a few days, because you got to take care of the kid, and you can't always take the kid with you. And the same thing goes for pets. Now, I realize some people take their pets with them. That's fine. That's not how I roll. Once again, I don't like to inconvenience people. I don't like to inconvenience my pets. I like to leave them comfortable. Some people don't have a problem boarding their pets. I would never do that, because they're used to the environment that they're in. My cats are used to this house. My dog's used to his backyard and in his little room. So I consider boarding them as something that I would never do. And I realize I'm getting off subject in this vlog, and that's usually what it comes down to. But the realization that when I left to go visit my sisters, my neighbor was still alive. And when I got back, or somewhere between the time that I left and came back, she was no longer alive. And I still don't know what caused her passing. And you know what? In all honesty, that's none of my business, because I didn't know her well enough to deserve that answer. Now, we all hope that it was natural causes. I hope that's the case. But at the end of the day, don't take life for granted. Appreciate every moment that we still have here. Every second, every minute, every hour, every day, week, month, year, decade that we still have left. Appreciate it. And realize what value life is. What actually matters and what doesn't matter. Because people brag all day. Oh, I got all this stuff. I got this. I got that. And so what? Awesome. Good for you. Great. But at the end of the day, it's not going to matter when you're gone. Because to everybody else, yeah, there may be a few items that they make, hold on for keepsakes or sentimental value. But most of your stuff is going to end up either sold, given away, or put in a garbage bag and thrown into a garbage bin and put on the side of the road for the garbage men to collect and haul off to a landfill. That is the sad fate, not only for ourselves, but for all the material items that we have that we put so-called value in. Just some food for thought. So next time you're looking over one of your collections or something, and just think about it. Just ask yourself the hard questions. Is anyone else really going to value this? Or give a damn as much about this as I do? And if not, then why hold on to it? Why spend money on it? And in the end, it's entirely up to you to decide what you consider treasure and what's not treasure. and bits of plastic and bits of metal put together. I mean, some of it, you know, looks awesome, and it's amazing, some of the work that's done through craftsmanship and artistry. But when I'm gone, a lot of the stuff that I will have, that I leave behind, a lot of it, my sisters or anyone else that is here to clean the place up when I'm gone, whether it's me passing away here in this house or like decades from now, say 50 years from now in a nursing home, and I don't really have anything left anyways because they've already given away all my stuff because I have dementia, and hopefully I don't end up like that. Hopefully. Yes. There's worse fates than death. But when the time comes for me and for you, that stuff, it's just stuff. And even though some of it gets sold, some of it will be held on to. Most of it, sadly, ends up being garbage.